Hello BookTube, my name is Darcy, I'm 22 and I'm from Melbourne, and this is my April Wrap Up and May TBR. So April was a really weird reading month for me because for the first half I was in Thailand, which meant I was extremely relaxed, had copious amounts of spare time and could just read as much as I wanted. So I read heaps in the first half of the month, and then the second half of the month I started rehearsals on a show, and so it's been like bang bang bang, busy, not being able to read as much. Anyway, when I was in Thailand, I finished the second half of Rise of Empire, which is volume 2 of the Rhaenyra Revelations by Michael J. Sullivan. So it's pretty much halfway through the book, like I finished all of that. And the second one is called The Emerald Storm, and I loved it. I am really loving this series. I love how the series has started when Hadrian and Royce, I think, are 30. Like they're in their 30s somewhere, so I like that. I'm loving finding out about Hadrian and Royce's past and all their past experiences and how they've come to where they are now because of those past experiences. Arista is slaying. The character development in this entire series is really wonderful. I just love them more and more, and the series is getting more and more exciting as it goes on, and it already started out really well, so it's just nailing it. I'll definitely be picking up the third volume. I'm not going to read it in May. I might, you never know. I don't stick to my TBR, I really don't. But yeah, I gave this one 4 stars. I loved it. Then I read Every Breath by Ellie Marnie, and this is a young adult Australian book set in Melbourne, which is wonderful because I live in Melbourne and it's the best. I found this book really interesting in that I really enjoyed the writing style, and I really enjoyed some of the characters, and the way it was written I really enjoyed, but I didn't enjoy the lead character, and I found the plot really interesting, but just I hate it when a lead character is just I think she's just like not my kind of person, really. I don't like it when a girl or guy anyway is, you know, describing themselves to you, the reader, being like, you know, I'm so polite, I always have to be polite. But then there's so many instances where she just like snaps at people and is really rude. And it's like, yeah, well, you're not polite, are you? So the male lead character is Mycroft, and I really enjoyed him. He's quite complicated, but he's aware that he is. It annoys me when a character isn't aware of their own issues. Like, she's very aware that he has issues, and he's aware that he has issues, but neither of them acknowledge that she probably has some issues as well. This isn't a spoiler at all, but there's this scene where they're neighbours, and she goes over to his house and they're mates. Like, her parents know they're mates, everyone just knows they're mates. Whatever, no big deal. And she falls asleep at his house. Nothing happens, she just falls asleep on the bed and wakes up. And it's like the biggest drama ever, and like she has to sneak home. And I get it, like she's 17, but maybe it's because my parents wouldn't care because they trust me. Weird, I know, how weird. Her brother gets really angry. He's like, how could you sleep at his house? What, were you sleeping with him? What, did you make out? And it's like, calm down. Can you just trust me? I hate the idea that boys, young teenage boys, are just the worst influence you can ever give to your teenage girl. And it's like, can you just trust your daughter that she has made the right choice in being friends with this guy? Can you trust that he's a good guy? You know, why do we always assume the worst in young teenage boys? So even though she really annoyed me and her parents really annoyed me, I did actually enjoy the plot, and I loved how it all kind of came about, everything that happened. I'd recommend this if you really like young adult mysteries, I guess. It was really good, and the Aussie-ness in it was really refreshing as well. So, but I gave this book 3.5 stars just because, once again, if a character annoys me, I go, nah, no. Also, I apologize for the sound of my voice. It's disgusting. I had too many champagnes the other night, and this is the effect. This is what it is. Then I read Tender as the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and there's a bookmark in it because Mum is actually reading it at the... Oh, it's so old. I really loved this book. I think I loved it more than Gatsby. Everything that happened, even though it was quite dramatic, didn't feel dramatic when you were reading it. I loved how dark all the characters were. I'm a bit of a dark soul, really. I loved the way it was written. F. Scott has a massive habit in this book for like 20 minutes you'll be reading, and it'll be like the course of a night in the book. And then in the next 5 minutes, you'll have jumped like 10 years. I loved all the characters. I loved everything that happened. I loved the way it was written. F. Scott can do no wrong for me at the moment. Everything that I've read of his, I just adore, I just connect with, connects to my soul. And I just love the way he builds up sexual tension as well. Like, he doesn't do it in a like blunt way, he just does it poetically, and there are no like sex scenes, but it's just really good. Then I read The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, aka Joe Rowling, and I know that I'm biased because I adore Harry Potter to no ends. Like, there's never an end to how much I love Harry Potter. But I loved this book. I loved it. I loved everything about it. Like, she's so funny. She's so funny. I love the way you can get an understanding of the character, not through her saying, oh, they're a really fussy person, but by her like showing that they're fussy in some way. I don't know what that's exactly called. I don't know why I make booktube videos. My descriptions are like the worst thing ever, but it was wonderful. It was really, really wonderful. And it was kind of a nice break after reading Every Breath, which is like a murder mystery yeah, it is a murder mystery, but like young adult, and then reading like an adult murder mystery. And it's like, this kind of proved to me how not good this one was, because it is good, but I guess this was just done in a more complicated way. I adored it. I completely adored it. I love how all her characters as well, like they have their complete flaws and they're all just aware. I love aware characters. I don't care what kind of character you are, as long as you're aware of who you are, you know? I think it's just like me with people though. Like, you can be a bad person, don't be a bad person, but if you do have bad traits, acknowledge that you have them. Don't you think it's the worst when someone's like thinks so highly of themselves and you're like, you're really mean actually. I really recommend it if you want something like, even though it seems really big, it was such a quick read because I was just the whole time. I don't know what that was. Anyway, so I read all those books in Thailand. Like, I kept reading it. I was slaying. And then I came back and rehearsals started for a show I'm in, and I got really, really stressed. And my TBR, I think I was meant to read Mistborn and Yes Please by Amy Poehler. But because like I couldn't think, I just wanted something fluffy, warm, like a hot chocolate. And for that reason, I picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses and reread it. And it was really great. And rereading it, I'm really glad I did, because not only is the sequel out, The Court of Mist and Fury, which I'm yet to pick up, but I just you pick up so much more when you reread. Like, to me now, it is just blatantly obvious. This is not a spoiler alert either. Actually, I think it is. I think it is. If you haven't read this, like, don't listen to what I'm gonna say right now, okay? It's blatant to me now that she's meant to be with Rhysand. Like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. You know when you just need some SJ Maas in your life? You just need it. So that was me. So now for the books I'm hoping to read in May. I've started on Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice, which I actually picked up when I went to Thailand, which is lovely. And it's going really well, but it's just like a lot. So you don't have chapter breaks or anything. Everything seems to be, for the moment, described through dialogue, which I generally don't enjoy. So I think this will be a book this month that I read like in between other books. You know what I mean? So that's book number 1. Then I want to read Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. This is the only John Green book I haven't read, and I really want to read it. Then I really want to read Six of Crows by Liba Dugo, and I mean, this book is all over the booktube stratosphere. I'm sure you all know what it's about. I know nothing, which makes no sense because everyone talks about it all the time, and I want to go into it completely blind. I know that it's fantasy, I think. How do I know? I don't know how I know nothing about this book. Whatever, I'm gonna read it. Then I would like to read Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton, and I was recommended this from the lovely young girl who works at my favourite bookstore. I don't know her name, which is weird. But anyway, she said this was like just a really fun, simple read, and I'd really enjoy it. As you can see, this month I'm reading a lot of young adult. Like, that's where my mindset's at right now. I just need young adult in my life. The last book I want to get to is Split Infinity by Talia Kalkipsakis, which is the second book in the Lifespan of Starlight series, and this is a young adult Australian book which involves time travel in a really, really cool way, and this actually came out only like last week or 2 weeks ago, so I'm really excited to get to it because I really enjoyed the first one. I'm a little bit sorry that you had to watch all the ramblings, but at the same time, like, I feel better. I hope you have a lovely month. I hope you've been well. And have a lovely day.